Curly Howard finally tells the truth about Moe Howard. Curly Howard was born Jerome Lester Horwitz on October 22, 1903 in the Bay Ridge area of Brooklyn, New York. He was the youngest of 5 Horwitz brothers. Jerome grew up in a working-class Jewish family from Lithuania where being funny and quick with jokes was a big part of everyday life. Even though he was naturally shy and not very confident as a child, his family and friends could see he had a playful side and was good at making people laugh. This mix of being humble and being really funny would later become the main part of his movie character. Curly didn't plan to become a comedian at first. When he was young, he liked sports more, dancing, and fixing things rather than acting on stage. When he was 12 years old, he had an accident and got shot in his ankle. This left him walking with a limp after he healed from the gunshot wound to his ankle. This really bothered him and made him feel embarrassed about himself. Strangely, this problem with walking later became part of the bouncy, silly movements that made his comedy style special. Before he got into show business, Curly worked lots of different jobs, like working with machines and being an amateur ballroom dancer. But his life changed completely when his older brother Moe Howard, who was already part of a comedy team that performed in theaters, told him he should try performing. In 1932, Curly was scheduled to join Moe and Larry Fine in the funny slapstick comedy group called the Three Stooges, taking the place of his brother Shemp Howard, who left the group to work alone. At first, Curly felt worried about not having much stage experience, and even shaved off his thick brown hair down to a completely bald head to look funnier. His round face, lots of energy, and acting like a kid right away changed how the group worked together. People watching were drawn to his crazy, almost cartoon-like a physical comedy mixed with his special phrases like nyuk nyuk nyuk, woo woo woo, and the word certainly that became famous parts of the Three Stooges style during the 1930s and 1940s. Curly's comedy skills helped the Three Stooges become one of Columbia Pictures' most money-making short movie acts. He created a character that was clumsy and innocent at the same time, always getting hit by Moe's slaps or getting tricked by Larry's plans, but still being so lovable that audiences wanted him to succeed. Movies like Punch Drunks from 1934, A Plumbing We Will Go from 1940, and In a Kind Every Steak from 1941 showed off his perfect timing, crazy facial expressions, and creative physical comedy, but behind the scenes, Curly's personal life was much more troubled. He had problems with gaining too much weight, being sick, and feeling really sad sometimes, often hiding his problems by being funny. By the mid-1940s, years of really hard movie schedules, living badly, and not taking care of his health started to hurt him badly. Curly's performances, which used to be super fast and full of energy, started to slow down. In 1946, while filming Halfwit Shality, Curly had a major stroke while working, which suddenly ended his career with the Three Stooges. He spent the rest of his life going in and out of hospitals and care homes with his brother Shemp coming back to the group to fill his spot. Curly's getting worse was really sad for fans and the people he worked with as the happy, joyful man they knew got weaker because of illness. His first marriage was to Julia Rosenthal, which started on August 5, 1930. This first marriage was really short, lasting less than 5 months before ending in divorce on January 6, 1931. This marriage happened before Curly became famous across the country with the Three Stooges. People think that at this time Curly was still trying to figure out his path in show business, and the stress of not knowing about his career probably helped cause the marriage to end so quickly. How short this relationship was is very different from the long-lasting fame Curly would later get in entertainment, showing a time of personal problems before his big success. Curly's second marriage was to Elaine Aki, which happened on June 7, 1937, a date that was special because it was the same day as the 12th anniversary of his brother Moe Howard's marriage to Elaine Howard. This connection to Moe's marriage anniversary shows how close these brothers were and maybe Moe's influence or help during this time of Curly's life. The marriage to Elaine gave Curly his first child, a daughter named Marilyn Howard Server, born on December 18, 1938. Marilyn being born was a happy moment during the growing stress of Curly's career and personal problems. But marriage didn't last long, ending in divorce by July 11, 1940. This breakup had a really big effect on Curly's health and happiness. After the divorce, Curly's physical health got noticeably worse, with big weight gain and the start of high blood pressure, which was a sign of the health problems he would have in latter years. During World War II, Curly's work life was really demanding. The Three Stooges movie filming schedules were stopped on purpose for about 7 months each year so that the three of them could travel and do live shows for soldiers. These tours were really hard and took a big toll on Curly's already weak health. Even though Moe had a strict rule that Curly couldn't drink alcohol while performing, Curly's life when he wasn't on stage was full of too much of everything. Hefton drank too much alcohol, ate too much, and stayed out late into the night at clubs and night spots, often doing these things to deal with the stress and pressure of his career. His lifestyle was not only bad for his body, but also wasteful with money. Curly loved to spend way too much money on expensive wine, fancy food, women, and buying houses and land, which often put him in really bad money situations. His money problems became so bad that Moe had to step in and take over handling Curly's money and spending, even doing Curly stacks papers to prevent disaster. Seeing the bad effects of Curly's lifestyle on his health and career, Moe Howard told Curly to marry again, thinking that settling down with a wife might make him more stable. After only dating for 2 weeks, Curly married Marion Buxbaum on October 17, 1945. Unfortunately, this marriage was short and full of problems. Lasting only 9 months, their breakup and divorce were really mean and angry, getting lots of attention from newspapers that made Curly Howard's personal problems into big news. This public attention during an already hard time made Curly's weak health and emotional state even worse. The divorce was finished in July 1946, just 2 months after Curly had a terrible stroke that ended his performing career. Finally, Curly found some lasting stability when he married Valerie Newman on July 31, 1947. Together they had a daughter named Jane Howard Hankey, born in 1948. This marriage lasted until Curly's death on January 18, 1952, making it the longest and most stable relationship of his life. Valeria stayed by his side through his getting worse years, giving him care and support as he fought the long-term effects of his stroke and other health problems. Their daughter Janie was a source of happiness and hope during the hard times Curly faced in his final years. For decades, fans of the famous comedy group, the Three Stooges, have been really interested not only in their slapstick humor and funny routines that never get old, but also in the behind-the-scenes relationships among the brothers themselves. Among these, their relationship between Curly Howard, known for his wild behavior and law that made everyone else laugh, and his older brother Moe Howard, the strict but loving leader, has always made viewers curious. Now, in a rare and honest moment, Curly Howard finally opens up and tells the truth about Moe Howard, the man behind the bossy outside personality. Curly's big reveal starts by proving wrong many stories that they've been told about Moe's personality over the years. Moe was often shown in newspapers and by fans as the controlling, sometimes mean boss of the Stooges, always ready with a hard slap or a mean comeback. While this image worked perfectly for the comedy roles they played on screen, Curly wants everyone to understand that Moe's real personality was much more complicated and based deeply in caring and being responsible. Moe, according to Curly, was not just the tough guy, but also the thing that kept the group together during hard times. A real brother in every way. One of the most touching truths Curly shares is about Moe's never-ending dedication to the family and the act. Moe was the oldest brother, and with that job came huge pressure to take care of the younger brothers, especially littering. The early years when they had trouble getting started in show business. Curly remembers countless times when Moe put his own dreams aside to make sure the group stayed together and that their performances were perfect. This feeling of responsibility made Moe's metamorphoses seem strict, but it was caused by love and wanting to protect the fragile bond they all shared. Curly also tells how Moe's leadership went beyond the stage. Behind the scenes, Moe was the one who talked about contracts, dealt with producers, and handled the tricky business side of showbiz, often protecting Curly and the others from the stress. Curly admits that without Moe's smartness and being practical, the Stooges might never have reached the level of success that made them famous in every household. Moe's ability to balance humor with being professional was really important, and Curly's honest admission sheds new light on the brothers' often underappreciated role. Another important thing Curly talks about is Moe's support during high sound health problems. Curly's career was sadly cut short by a terrible stroke and other health problems, but Moe stayed a steady source of strength and encouragement. Curly admits that Moe's tough love sometimes hid deep worry and compassion, showing up in small actions. From helping Curly with daily tasks to visiting him during hospitalities. This side of Moe, rarely seen by the public, shows a deep brotherly bond that went beyond their comedy characters. Also, Curly clears up the misunderstandings about their off-screen interactions, while the Stooges on-screen Slapstick often showed Moe hitting Curly for laws. Their real-life relationship was much more loving. Curly remembers moments of laughter, shared memories, and respect for each other that made their brotherhood special. This truth gets rid of the idea of Moe as just the harsh boss and instead shows him as a loving brother who really cared about Curly's well-being. Curly Howard Shirt Confession finally gives fans a real look into Moe Howard's true character, not just as a serious leader or a comedy partner, but as a devoted brother, protector, and friend. This revelation makes the legacy of Three Stooges richer by reminding the world that behind the slapstick humor and playful arguing was real family love and support. For fans old and new, Curly's truth about Moe adds a new way of understanding the legendary trio and the bonds that made their comedy timeless. Still not completely recovered from his terrible stroke, Curly Howard's life took a big turn when he met Valerie Newman. Even with his serious challenges and the physical and emotional damage his condition had already done to him, Curly found a new connection with Valerie, a woman who would become his devoted partner in the difficult years ahead. They were married on July 31st, 1947, a marriage that brought some warmth and comfort to Curly's declining health and spirits. For Curly, who had been a larger-than-life person full of energy and comedy genius on screen, this time was marked by being vulnerable and needing help. But Valerie being there seemed to give him a rare bright spot of happy and stability. Irma Levitton, a close friend who knew Curly personally, later thought about this part of his life with heartfelt honesty, saying, Valerie was the only decent thing happened to Curly and the only one that really cared about him. This touching observation shows how during the often harsh realities of hustleness and the entertainment industry's pressures, Valerie's love and care were the only source of real support. She stood by him not just as a wife, but as a caregiver who saw firsthand the gradual wearing away of the man she loved. Although their marriage brought some happiness, Curly's health continued getting worse without stopping. In 1948, during the struggles, Valerie gave birth to their daughter, Janie. The arrival of Janie was a new chapter in Curly's life, a thin thread of joy and hope during the ongoing health crisis. For Valerie, becoming a mother while caring for a seriously sick husband was definitely a heavy burden, but she kept going, balancing the demands of being a mother with the ongoing responsibility of supporting Curly through his medical challenges. The birth of Janie was a happy but sad milestone representing new life. Even as Curly's energy faded, later that summer, the situation took a tragic turn. Curly had a second massive stroke, which further destroyed his already body. This stroke left him partially paralyzed, greatly reducing his independence and quality of life. By 1950, Curly was stuck in a wheelchair, a shocking contrast to the energetic physical comedy he had on set performed so easily. His ability to move severely limited, Curly's daily life became a constant fight against his own failing body. To try to manage his health, Curly was put on a strict diet of only boiled rice and apples, foods chosen for their low calories, and supposed benefits for losing weight and controlling blood pressure. This eating plan showed the medical understanding of time and the desperate efforts made to slow down the worsening of his conditions, though it also showed the seriousness of his situation. The deed was a reminder of how far Curly had fallen from the energetic performer he once was, now reduced to a state where even basic eating was carefully controlled. Despite these efforts, Curly's condition showed little improvement. Recognizing the need for specialized care, Valerie made the difficult decision to put him in the motion picture and television Fun's Country House and Hospital on August 29, 1950. This place dedicated to caring for members of the entertainment community gave Curly access to medical treatments and round-the-clock nursing care. His stay there lasted several months, during which he got various treatments and medical checkups aimed at stabilizing his health and managing symptoms of his strokes. Although Curly was eventually let out, he wasn't fully recovered. His weak health meant he had to return to the place many times over the following months and years. These repeated admissions showed the chronic nature of his illness and the continuous struggle to maintain some appearance of health and dignity in the face of mounting physical limitations. The country house and hospital became a returning refuge, a place where Curly could receive care and be among people who understood the unique pressures faced by entertainers. By February 1951, Curly's condition had gotten worse to the point that he needed placement in a nursing home, a place better equipped to give long-term care for people with severe disabilities. This change marked another step down in Curly's health journey as his strokes continued to take a devastating toll. Only a month after entering the nursing home, he had yet another stroke, further hurting his ability to function independently. In April of that year, Curly was moved again, this time to the North Hollywood Hospital and Sanitarium, a specialization offering more intensive medical support and rehabilitation. His stay there represented one of the last stages of his battle with declining health, where medical staff worked to manage his symptoms and give comfort as his condition got worse. A touching moment in Curly's final year happened on January 7, 1952. Moe Howard, Curly's older brother and fellow stooge, was contacted on the set of Columbia Pictures while filming He Cooked His Goose. The request was to help with moving Curly for what everyone would come to realize was the last time. The image of Moe stepping away from work to help his sick brother shows the deep family bonds and the deep sadness surrounding Curly's final days. Despite their efforts, the move proved successful in improving Curly's condition. Just 11 days later, on January 18, 1952, Curly Howard passed away at the age of 48. His death marked the end of a life that, while filled with tremendous comedy talent and public fame, had been tragically cut short by illness. Awful the members of the Three Stooges, Curly lived the shortest life, a fact that shows the heavy price he paid physically in the years after his peak career.